What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions.
If you have the money, you can always buy cryptocurrency. Last year, Bitcoin peaked at almost $20,000. Or you can earn it by running a cryptocurrency mine, a network of computers that serve as the backbone of the crypto economy.
What are these machines doing?
So those computers are miners. They are mining cryptocurrencies, and they're validating the transactions on the blockchain, and they get a reward for that.
So if I pay somebody for something in a cryptocurrency, it's being validated potentially by one of these computers.
Yeah, that's true.
And when somebody makes that transaction, you validate it here in Iceland and you make money.
Yes.
How much does one of these cost to create? If I'm going to create one of these at home, one of these units.
$2,000.
And how many are in here, in this one warehouse here?
It's tens of thousands. Yeah.
Tens of thousands.
Mining operations like Marco's were made possible by pseudonymous programmer Satoshi Nakamoto, who in 2009 created Bitcoin, a decentralized digital currency run by no one entity and beyond the control of any one government. But Nakamoto, whose true identity remains a well-guarded secret, faced an obvious problem. If no physical currency exists, who tracks the ownership of a digital coin? To solve this, he created the blockchain, software that records and stores information, like who owns a Bitcoin, on a decentralized ledger shared across millions of computers. It can't be changed, and it's nearly impossible to hack.
The big thing about mining in general is that it's not one single central entity that validates all the transactions. The miners all over the world are validating them.
So this server farm on this kind of moonscape of Iceland, this might replace a central bank.
It's not only replacing, actually, it's making a central entity obsolete.
A very grand welcome to all the fellow decoders out there around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding the cryptocurrency. This is a big time topic on the world stage. Many of you have been waiting for this one. And boy, I have a jam-packed, super informative presentation for all of you watching this at this very moment. And as I always say, slip on a pair of headphones if you can, get immersed in this presentation, get comfortable. Not sure how long this one's going to be because I just do everything improv. No time limits. Got a lot of slides, a lot of information from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Doesn't matter what your level is. You just follow the synchronicities. You'll be able to get the gist of how this decoding world works. And I will continue to say, and I'll say it with this decode, that I feel mankind is being used, and it is the architect or architects or whatever that looks like that comes down here and becomes all of us to experience its own reality. And obviously all the 200 plus videos now showing the same patterns. I'm not sure how else to describe what the decoding world is finding besides myself, all you other great decoders out there. So folks, here we are, here we go, cryptocurrency decoded. And let me start off by just doing a little bit of an intro. And this is the breakdown of the website that talks about Satoshi Nakamoto, who's supposedly the founder of Bitcoin, where it started it all. And I went down to this section of the development of Bitcoin, and obviously the dates can be decoded, which is what I'm going to show you here. On August 18th, they registered the name Bitcoin, and then on January 9th, they released version number 1 on SourceForge. And then I'm going to show you this little text here that they embedded in the transaction of that block on that release date, saying the times 03 January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Now, I don't even know if this really was in there, but this is the only thing we can go off of. So those are the 3 things I'm going to be breaking down with the starting point of this decode. A little bit of Bitcoin itself and the history of cryptocurrency. So here is the dates of this Bitcoin and how it started. Here it is. On August 18th, they registered the domain name. August 18th is the 230th day of the year. On January 9th, they released version 1 of the Bitcoin software. And of course, January 9th is the 9th day of the year. I have 18 and 9 highlighted in yellow to start this off because 18 plus 9 equals the number 27. And of course, that is linked directly to the word currency. It's also linked to the word quantum. And most of you that have been following this great research, 27 is cobalt, which is tied to the puppet master. And that is tied to, when you go to the periodic table and, you add this in for good measure, when you look at cobalt, you'll notice, it does have a picture of a couple dragons, and cobalt means goblin. And there is the atomic weight of cobalt, 58.933. And if you just go to the numerology cipher and you type in the word puppet master, you're going to get the number 58. It's right there. And you're going to see, folks, throughout this presentation that I'm primarily using Chaldean and Chaldean only. I have a little bit of English mixed in there, but I'm not deviating away from that. I feel you don't have to, as a decoder, to find the truths. They're all in Chaldean/English. You don't have to even go anywhere else besides that. And Chaldean, to me, is the top dog cipher in the world of decoding. But nonetheless, there it is. 18 and 9. The 2 big dates to start off Bitcoin is tied to currency. And that's what cryptocurrency is. It's a currency. And of course, we're all being mined for our energetic gold. And, crypto is going to be backed up to the quantum financial network. We're going to get into that as well. So the registered date of August 18th is the 230th day of the year. Let's extend on this. This blew me away. And the launch date being January 9th, the 9th day of the year. When you take 230 and you add 9, you're going to get 239, which, of course, is not just any number. It's a freaking prime number. And it's not just any prime number. It's the 52nd prime number, which is a direct match to the word cryptocurrency. So, we start to pose these questions, like, could man ever code this? Do you see the level? And this is just using the Chaldean. If you start adding in other numerology ciphers, it just makes it even that much more complicated. But we don't even have to do that. But think about it. Are these people sitting down and choosing these dates, or at least putting them up on Wikipedia so they have these matches like this? Are they strictly using Chaldean? Because it's, you're not going to find that in the English or anything like that. It's right there. So these are questions that only you can answer, because you got to make the truth your own. Got to make the truth your own. So going a little bit further, here are the 2 cards. I'm going to check it against the cards of illumination. Typical poker deck. There's 52 cards in a deck, of course. And remember, cryptocurrency is 52. There are 52 of these cards in a typical deck of playing cards, poker, blackjack, what have you. And these are embedded directly into nature. I've been showing this so very much throughout all my presentations. August 18th is the 8 clubs. January 9th is the 5 spades. And I want to be really transparent. Always check this against the chart. Here's the boilerplate chart for the cards of illumination. You should know your birthday card or cards in here. But here's January 9th. It's the 5 spades. There it is. And then August the 18th, there it is the 8 clubs. This is August. So there are the 2 cards, folks. The 8 and the 5, which is, interesting because Puppet Master is 58 and the 58 is there, even though, it's the 85 showing it this way because it was registered on the 18th of August, which was first, but nonetheless, the 58 is there. What's absolutely fascinating is you see these cards are all numbered. Of course, I've been showing this, and the 8 clubs is the 21st card in the deck, and the 5 spades is the 44th card in the deck. And when you take 44 and 21 and put it together, you're going to get 65. And 65 is linked to the element zinc. Its average atomic weight is the 65.38. If you reduce that down, you're going to get the 1111. That has a lot of synchronicities to it. I could go way off in a tangent about that. But zinc has 30 protons, and that's a match to this word right here, which the Gnostics called the god of this world, the architect, the demiurge. Demi meaning 2. Demi meaning 2. And folks, how else are we to wrap our minds around what we're seeing here? Just out of the gates, with the register and launch date using the cards. Now remember, folks, if you're consciously coding this as somebody who wants to code it, you realize what would have to go into that. You see what I'm saying? You'd have to include alchemy. You'd have to include the mystical arts and the cards. You'd have to include dates. You'd have to include prime numbers. You'd have to include numerology. I just can't imagine. It just doesn't make any logical sense using common sense that mankind could ever code this the way it is and the layers that it is at right here. Some people think that they're using a quantum computer to get all their outcomes, but unless somebody can show me one of those, that's just a pure theory and opinion. And what makes more sense is that it's the architect that controls this entire reality, and it has scripted it before each and every one of us got here. That's the reason why scripture, the word scripture, if you're a fan of the Gospels, if you're a fan of the Bible, the very word scripture's got the word script in it. It's pretty much a no-brainer. Nonetheless, here is the text. Let me go back to the website. Here it is. Here's the text on the Coinbase transaction, and this is what was put in here embedded in this release of Bitcoin. And it was this right here, and that's the 209. So here's another layer that they'd have to get in there. And 209, when we bring it into the string of pi, how valuable is pi? But in the decoding world, it is so valuable. If you're not using pi, I'm going to highly suggest you start doing that. Just start figuring out numbers and where they're placed at, and always fact check your numbers in the lineage of pi. But that 209 with this statement that was embedded on the first transaction or the rollout is found at the 53rd decimal digit of pi. Of course, automatically, those of you that know the decoding world, 53 is the iodine, which is the tetragrammaton, which is 1/2 of the I am that I am. And I'm going to be showing that throughout this presentation in more ways than just this. But the 209 occupies 3 digits, 53, 54, and 55. And of course, the guy who supposedly started Bitcoin, his name in the Chaldean is the number 55. So it's a direct match, folks. So again, if you're going to have to consciously code something, you got to get it exactly this way. And would they be strictly using Chaldean if they're consciously coding this stuff? So that was my little intro, folks. That was my intro and the start of this. But now I want to break down the remaining 5 topics, including what did you see. So here we go in the number 1 position. We're going to get into the numbers 52 and 55. And, you already saw the 55. It's Satoshi's name in the Chaldean numerology cipher. But we're going to be breaking down and showing you the significance of those 2 numbers together. Number 2, the introduction. Number 3, Bitcoin's apocalypse. You got to know what the word apocalypse means, folks. Number 4, quantum, because that's where we're going. Number 5, in God we trust. And of course, number 6, what did you see? So here we go, folks. Let's get into the first topic, 52 and 55. Now, at the very top of the screen, obviously, we start off with a bang here. Cryptocurrency is a 52. Obviously, that's tied to the Demiurge and the 82 and Saturn. Saturn has so much to do with this, folks. I mean, it just keeps going back to the Father Time. And then, of course, you know, Yaldabaoth's in there and the Yod, and then you get Jesus and Lucifer, all the subordinates. But cryptocurrency is a 52, and when we take the 52 and we bring it into the string of pi here at the bottom, and we go 50, this is another way you can decode. If you're not decoding this way, I'm going to highly suggest you do that. Not only can you measure where the numbers are found in pi, but you can also measure how many digits into the 3-point and then get a total outcome and then measure that against primes and Fibonacci numbers and what have you. But here is 52 digits past the 3-point. Added up, you'll notice it's the 257. 257, folks, is the 55th prime number, and we go right back to Satoshi Nakamoto's name, 50-5. You see how the layers of this just keeps going, and we just keep tacking it on and tacking it on, and that's why I personally feel mankind could never, ever code something like this. It's just way too complicated. And, you know, here is cryptocurrency being 52, Satoshi being 55, 52 digits into pi, 257, 55th prime number. You see how all these are embedded. The guy who supposedly came out and invented Bitcoin, which was the start of cryptocurrency, the 52 and 55, folks. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, even the 52 and 55 is 107, and that's tied to 47 and tetragrammaton, silver, which is the tree of knowledge. But that's for a different story. How about when we do Satoshi Nakamoto? The only name I can go by, some say it's an alias, a pseudonym, I don't know, but the only name that we can go by is what they tell us, and Satoshi Nakamoto is what it is. And how about the alchemology of his name? And this is just more of where I feel that the architect's a freaking comedian, because it's taken ownership. Now, if you're new to this, alchemology is taking numerology, the starting point of it, getting your outcomes, and then breaking down each letter and number and then matching that with its respected element on the periodic table. So Satoshi is a 3147351, and that would be the top row here would be lithium, hydrogen, beryllium, nitrogen, lithium, boron, and hydrogen. 3147351. And then Nakamoto is right here on the second tier. And when you add all those up using the trusty calculator, you're going to get the number 113.13. 13, that's a big time number, but it's the standout of the 113 on the masculine side of the decimal. We go right back to the primes and check it against that. The 113 is the frickin' 30th prime number. That's tied to the rabbit card as well, going down into the quantum realm, more Alice in Wonderland, and of course it's linked to the Demiurge. You know, remember folks, Jehovah, the New Age name of the God of the Bible, is the number 30. Santa Claus is the number 30. Jesus was from Nazareth. Nazareth equals the number 30. And they're all within the Chaldean. I don't even have to go anywhere outside this cipher, folks. All the truth, in my opinion, is all embedded in the Chaldean. That should be your primary cipher you should be decoding from. The primary one. Get rid of the other ones until you get your foundation built with the Chaldean. That's just my recommendation. How about China, who officially came out with their cryptocurrency? There's the date circled at the top, April 17th, which of course is the 417. And most of you should know what that 417 is. It's tied to the sun. It's tied to Lucifer. But there's the card right to the right. The April 17th card is the 4 Pentacles, because it's tied to the 4 diamonds. And this card's all about money. This is what this card means and symbolizes. It's, you know, it's all about the dough. It's all about the money. That's why this character is holding a disc on it in its hand, really tight, one above its head, 2 at its feet. I mean, it's just all about the cash. It's all about the cash. And it's kind of like it's kind of hoarding it. I mean, the keywords for this card here is, protecting resources and saving and stability, And when this card comes up, it means that matters of security and control are top dog. They're paramount, And of course, this is when China decided to release their coin. And I mean, are the leaders of China sitting down with these cards and the dates and choosing them based upon the cards, or are they doing it because it was 417 that's tied to the sun? And a lot of these leaders know, I shouldn't say a lot. I'm just going to say some of them know what's going on consciously, just like a lot of you know what's going on consciously. But at what level, that's to be determined. But there is the actual card of illumination as the date tied to China's release of their cryptocurrency, April 17th. It's the 4 diamonds. And of course, what card is it? It's the 30th freaking card in the deck. It goes right back once again to the Demiurge. And I'll just go right back up to Satoshi Nakamoto's alchemology. And it's the 113, which is the 30th prime number. I mean, you see these synchronicities, folks. I mean, how else are you to wrap your mind around this, thinking mankind could ever code this? These are 2 different things, 2 different topics, 2 different people, 2 different countries. And yet here we are synchronized and using tarot and the cards of illumination that have nothing to do with money and politics. Nothing. But they have everything to do with it. Everything to do with it. And I mean, there is your box. That's your cube. And I showed how this 4 diamonds is tied to the Jack in the Box card, the Jack in the Box, and tied to the founding date of Jack in the Box restaurant. That's the founding date is the 4 diamonds. And it's just funny. Like I said, this architect, whatever created this reality, has one hell of a sense of humor. So let's get into the second topic called the introduction. The introduction, which of course is when Bitcoin was introduced. Now, I went over a little bit of this in the beginning on the intro, but I want to touch on this now and break down the date of January 9th, 2009, when Bitcoin officially got launched as version number 1. And, some parts of the world, January 9th would be written 9/1. 91 is linked to the word battery. I told you we'd be bringing a little bit of English in there. And if you use the, if you use the Chaldean, you're going to get the number 19, the mirror of that. So there you go, 91 with the English. And then if you write it the way we do here in the United States or other countries, it would be January 9th. Otherwise known as 1/9, that's 19. And what other word on the world stage has the number 19 after it? Don't have to think very long for that. Get that answer. But now you know why that big idea on the world stage, why they chose the number 19. Because it's linked to the word battery. So here is the Sun card in the tarot, and that's the 19th card in the deck, tied to the release date of Bitcoin itself. Of course, the Sun is gold, folks. Just remember that. The Sun is otherwise known as gold, and currency has to be backed up by gold, and there you go. It's backed up by the Sun. Here's a couple more examples. In the Chaldean, digital currency has the exact same numerology output as gold currency. There it is, digital 17, gold 17, and of course currency is a direct match because they're both the same words. But how about that, folks? Gold and digital. Where do you think we're going? Where is this world going? And then when you do it in the English, I mean, what can I say? It's pie. So the January 9th date of Bitcoin I showed this, is the 5 spades card. What's really interesting too is the Bavarian Illuminati was founded on May 1st, and the May 1st card is the same as that one. But anyway, that's for a different story, because I'm not sure if we could link those two together, but it makes interesting conversation. But the 5 spades card is the 44th card in the deck. 44 is tied to the words gold currency. How about that? Gold currency. Folks, this is going to be backed up by gold. And the quantum financial. And we're going to get into that. Bringing into the string of pie, where does that number 44 appear? Well, it occupies digits 59 and 60. And remember, well, I shouldn't say remember because I haven't come out with it yet, but I have a decode coming out on the Game of Life, and the Game of Life equals the number 59, which is a direct match to that where the 44 appears. But it's the 59 and 60. And of course, that is going to give you the number 119, which is linked to the 50th element called tin. And I'm going to be showing that tin towards the end of this presentation. Make no mistake about it. So just hang on to your seats for that one, because there's going to be more information on that. But 50 is the merger of worlds, and the reason why XRP is going to be included in this. But here is the tarot card. That's a direct match to the card of illumination that January 9th holds. The 5 spades becomes the 5 of swords, which is the 55th card in the deck, depending on how you observe the cards, whether or not you include the Fool or not. So I'm going to show you having complete transparency. Here is the tarot cards, and this one is having the Fool at the 0 and the 22nd position, using it twice. I have different spreads. One of them doesn't have the Fool at the 22nd position, but going off the classical spread and the layouts, having 78 cards, there's your card number 55, which is the 5 of swords, which is the 5 spades card. So these came first, just for edification and history, and the tarot came second. So this is kind of the cousin card. But I mean, look at that, 44 and 55, 2 master numbers. And of course, this card, the symbolism and what it means, it's kind of like, no one wants to play the game anymore. It's really interesting. I mean, are they talking about currency itself, or the changing of the guards, or there's a lot of meanings to this. But anyway, this is the very beginning point of that, and this would come second. So this has a lot of meanings to it. Boy, I can't talk tonight. But remember, Satoshi Nakamoto, the guy who supposedly founded Bitcoin, is 55 in the Chaldean. I mean, and again, look at these syncs, folks. Here's the founding date of Bitcoin, 5 spades. The 5 spades is the 5 of swords, is the 55th card, and it's a direct match of the founder of Bitcoin. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Mankind could never code this, folks. There's too many moving parts. Way too many moving parts. How about Satoshi's name in the English? Well, it's the 181. I mean, he's got the 91 for his first name, which is the battery, and tied to the founding date of cryptocurrency itself, Bitcoin itself. But it's the 181, which is the 42nd freaking prime number. If you haven't seen my decode on the number 42, please check it out. That's the incarnation process. And of course, it's going to be tied to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I'm going to be bringing into this. So Satoshi Nakamoto, here's his birthday. And it is April 5th, 1975. April 5th. Let me just be really transparent. Here it is. Here's April 5th. It's the 3 spades. And there's the card right there. And it's the 42nd card in the deck. And, right there, Satoshi Nakamoto, 181. It's the 42nd prime number. And his birthday is the 42nd card. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Just can't. And when you really kind of do the timestamp of the release date of Bitcoin and Satoshi's alleged birthday, here is the breakdown, folks. I mean, 33 years. And that 33 at the very end, the last slide, is going to completely dial into what you're seeing right here. But I mean, look at the total result of days. I mean, if you break that down, the 12 becomes a 3, and you have 4 3s across the board, folks. It's all about the 3. 3 is pi. Just remember, 3 is pi. 3 is the solar plexus chakra. 3 is Gemini, which has the 2 bars. The bars meaning the prison. I have a decode coming out on that. I was listening to an Elvis Presley song today. Just happened to randomly listen to Jailhouse Rock, and it's all about the jail. But that's for a different story. But I have one coming out on Jailhouse Rock. It's going to rock a lot of people's worlds. But anyway, here's Bitcoin itself. The word Bitcoin is the number 23 in the Chaldean. When we compare that, or we sync it up with the string of pi. 23 occupies 2 digits, 16 and 17. And if you get out your calculators, folks, don't just take my word for it. 16 plus 17 is going to give you the number 33, which is why I have the crucifixion in the background. Folks, it's all about death and regeneration. That's what it's all about, our world, if you haven't figured that out. It's all about death and regeneration. 33 is the vertebrae, and 33 is Golgotha equals 33. The whole story of the crucifixion, it's really fascinating. But there it is, Bitcoin 23. And remember, crown, blood, and history, all those words equal the number 23. So now let's get into the third topic called Bitcoin's apocalypse. You know, that apocalypse word, a lot of people have been programmed with thinking it's some devastation and destruction. And that's not really what the word means. I just encourage you to go check out and read about what the word means. But obviously, when you sync up the word apocalypse, that's why this is called Bitcoin's apocalypse, because it's going to cause a massive change in our reality, unlike we've never seen before. So apocalypse is 40 in the English. In the original spelling of the Greek, it's the 113, which is linked to the demiurge anyway. But nonetheless, the apocalypse 40 and the word Shiva, which is, you know, the Lord Shiva, which runs the apocalypse, runs the change, runs the changing of the guards, utter destruction and reformatting the world out of the three, out of the pantheon of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Shiva was, you know, the one that kind of tore shit up. But nonetheless, look at the connections. 16 and the 40 and the string of pi, that's Shiva and apocalypse. I mean, can you see the story starting to unfold? And then, of course, the 16th card is the Tower card. And this is a card of destruction, massive change. And that's what I feel is going to happen with this Bitcoin and the upheaval of fiat currency as we once known it. But nonetheless, folks, Bitcoin, when you break it down, moving forward with more words or more numerology ciphers, Bitcoin's a 72. And of course, you know, you have the 72 angels and demons. That's a loose synchronicity, by the way. But 72 is the mirror of the number 27. And of course, Bitcoin means we're going quantum. And then the 72, comparing that into the string of pi, it's occupying decimal digits 139 and 140, and 139 and 140, when you add it up, is the number 279. The 279th prime number is the 1801. And if you remember, Satoshi's name, if I go all the way back up here in the English, is the 181. You just don't have the zero in there, but you can see the synchronicities to all of this that I'm showing you here, folks. All of this and what's coming down the pike for all of us, so it seems. Unless something massive changes, you know, unless we're creating our own fractals and some of us won't get shifted into this world. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. These are a lot of the theories that we have to just use common sense and logic on. But how about the word crypto in the English? We did the word Bitcoin in the English, but what about the word crypto? Crypto is the number 97. That's tied to berkelium. And if you can go way deep with this one right here, but 97 is found inside the 42nd element molybdenum, which means lead. And of course, reincarnation, crucifixion, all link up to the number 42. The word wonderland equals the number 42, which is what we're all in. But here it is, the 42 and the 97. Molybdenum has several atomic weights and atomic and masses that it can be measured in a laboratory. That's why some of you are like, how come you keep showing different numbers? Well, because some of these have more than one isotope. Well, actually, pretty much all of them have more than one isotope. But these give us the clues and they give us the bridge. And of course, again, what is the crucifixion? It's 33. You go right back up to the apocalypse, and you go back up to Bitcoin being 23, and it being in the string of pi at digits 16 and 17, which is 33. I mean, it's right there in our face. It's always been there, and nothing changes on there. You just need to know how to sync up all these numbers. But there it is. Crucifixion 42, Crypto 97, 42 and 97 in molybdenum. It's pretty easy, folks, when you start to see the connecting patterns and all of this. And again, we go back to Satoshi having that birthday and birth card of April 5th, the 3 spades, which is the 42nd card in the deck, going right back up to that 42, tied to the word crypto through the English, and the molybdenum meaning lead. I mean, it just goes on and on, folks. You see the layers, and I mean, I don't know how you would be able to consciously code this to get all these layers all synced up like this. I just don't. And then you bring in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, folks. That's why life, the universe, and everything. I showed this in my decode of Angel Falls and the Jacob's Ladder and other decodes with the 42. Even, and if you haven't seen my decode on, of course, 42 Decoded, check it out. But, that's why the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is allegedly saying that we are owned and operated and run by a supercomputer. And that is so very challenging to wrap our minds around, really. I mean, most cannot tolerate these notions that we're actually just numbers and symbols and vibrational frequencies and sound and light. And, and all of these are computated with something that created us. And that's why we're able to put all these numbers together and elements together and numerology, and all you great decoders out there doing all this great work. And 42 is, of course, Jupiter's number in the symbolism of it anyway. This Jupiter's the biggest planet. But anyway, when you really kind of synchronize English and Chaldean together, remember, Chaldean uses the numbers 1 through 8 only, and English uses the numbers 1 through 26, but 26 is 2 plus 6, and that's 8. So it's going to end up, that's why these are in bed together, and these are the 2 primary ciphers you should be using for decoding: Chaldean number 1, English number 2, or side by side. But nonetheless, this is how beautiful and how mathematically precise these 2 ciphers are here when you bring in the string of pi. Because crypto being 97 in the English, when you bring that into the string of pi, look at what digits it occupies. Digit number 12 and digit number 13. And what's 12 and 13? It's 25. You see how this is all connected? It's just so beautifully mathematically precise, and man could never code this. No possible way. Especially, you're just getting into the English, you start decoding other languages, Spanish and Greek and Hebrew, and you can get into other Latin, and it just gets so complicated, and just it shows you that man could never code this. But nonetheless, when you take the 13 digits of where the 97 is found, and we add them all up past the 3.14159265358997. There's the 97, and you add that up, you're going to get the number 65. 65, folks, which goes right back to that element zinc, and I showed that in the very beginning of this intro, being the demiurge, the number 30. 30 protons in zinc. The word demiurge equals the number 30. The word Jehovah equals the number 30. The word Nazareth equals the number 30. The word Santa Claus equals the number 30. It's the rabbit card going down the hole, becoming man. Quantum. That's why all these movies, like Decoded, downsizing with Matt Damon. I mean, everything's getting smaller and smaller, more powerful, more faster. Even Santos and Danny just did a interview with Ken Wheeler. You should check it out. But Ken was talking about how in science, the real deal of science, and I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying that it really is backwards, because the smaller things get, the more powerful and the larger they get and what they are able to contain. It's kind of really the opposite of what we think. We'd think that in order to have more information, we need larger room, but that's just not the case. And of course, Ken Wheeler, I'm a big fan of his stuff because the guy's a freaking genius. But anyway, you should check out that podcast they did talking about the ether. And I know Ken mentioned that, and I was just like, wow. And that just makes so much sense. As we go inward and get smaller and smaller, we get faster and more powerful. And that's what this is all about here with the crypto. So crypto, again, is 25 in the string of pi. The 25 occupies digits 89 and 90, and 89 of course is tied to Yaldabaoth, and 89 and 90 is 179, and 79 is gold, and 179 is the hierarchy of the 79. It's all linked to gold, and Yaldabaoth has a big say in all this, folks. And Yaldabaoth is 89, 89 is 17, 17 is goldfish, 17 is the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. These characters, these ideas, whatever they are, could be one and the same. But clearly the Gnostics believe the creator of this reality is Yaldabaoth. Then you have the biblical aspect. Then you have the Vedic aspect, Brahma, Vishnu. I mean, it just goes on and on, folks. But nonetheless, let's get back to this. I mean, crypto, 25, 89 and 90. And 89 and 90 is 179 tied to Yaldabaoth. So let's get into the fourth topic, folks, called quantum, because that's really where we're going. I mean, I feel like the cosmos is taking its breath inward, and when you go in, you're going to get smaller, and you're going to go back in black, so to speak. And we're going quantum, folks. And I don't know. I don't have all the answers, like I said. I know some of you love hearing me say that, but I don't have all the answers, and just a lot of this is theory. But folks, you can't rule out the fact that we may end up moving into going back to source, and source could be a supercomputer, which is why transhumanism, there's a big movement with that. Now, I'm in the middle. I'm neutral. I'm a big observer. I'm a fan of science and research, but I don't really side with anything until I can get all the moving parts in front of me, and I feel like we don't have all those right now, but we're getting closer. We're certainly getting closer, and the quantum realm is, where it's really at. That's the zeros and ones, and that's really the makeup of our reality. It's just the zeros and ones. That's it. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not that. It's zeros and ones in the quantum world. And these quantum computers are, they're much more powerful than a regular computer, so to speak. Remember, the word quantum starts with the letter Q. Q is the 17th letter. You go right back up to, knowing that Yaldabaoth is 89, 8 plus 9 is 17. The Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh is 17. The Q movement. I mean, folks, it's all in bed together. There's no separation. It's just all part of the script. It's all part of the story, right? But that 27 is very special. I mean, it's tied to Cobalt and the Puppet Master, as I showed. But, in the string of pi, it's going to give you another version, another rendition to go deeper. And noticing that the 27 occupies digits 28 and 29. And, the outcome of that is 57. And 57's going to be the Truman Show. Which is absolutely fascinating. I mean, what does this tell us about our reality? And, and I'm a big believer now in we live in a simulation, and I just, obviously it feels and looks real and all that kind of stuff, but I feel that we live inside some kind of simulation, and that's why the Truman Show came out. And when I decoded the Truman Show, if you haven't seen my decode on that, check it out. It's all scripted, folks. The entire movie, from Jim Carrey to all the actors in it, to the placements, to the places they picked, just everything, folks. It's all part of the script. And remember, 57 is the zodiac wheel above us. It's the first 7 signs, Aries through Libra, and then the 5 signs underneath it, which make up the dance floor, as I like to call it, which would be Scorpio through Pisces. And those are the water signs holding it in. And of course, Truman had a fear of water. It's called aquaphobia, and it's all tied to the fish. And it's just really interesting when you synchronize astrology with all this kind of stuff. But nonetheless, the architect is found at that 27. The 27 has that 28th digit, and then, remember that 28 occupies I'm sorry, I can't even talk. I'm getting tired here, folks. The number 2 is the 28th digit, and 2 means duality. 7 means completion, but that's architect. But then 28 and 29 equals the number 57, and that's the Truman Show. Stairway to Heaven equals 57. So is quantum where we need to go to live in a paradise? Folks, if you really, it goes so deep, and I don't want to get off topic because this is about cryptocurrency. So what about the quantum financial system? If you don't know what this is, I'm going to suggest you just go type in your favorite search engine and read about it, what it means. You should know these terminologies. Quantum financial system is a 75. You see how it's a mirror of the 57 and the Truman Show? It's a mirror of it. And, when you place that 75 into the string of pi, it occupies two digits, digit 47 and digit 48. And, really when you add up 47 and 48, you're going to get the number 95, which is, I've been showing this over and over. This is what Nikola Tesla said was the keys to the universe. It's the I am that I am. Because if you take iodine, 126.904, and you add up the americium of 243.061, you're going to get the number 369.965. It's the I am that I am, folks. It's right there. And of course, this is a synthetic element. And this is an essential element for us to take. If you don't take iodine, you may want to research that. It's an essential element. Many people are iodine deficient. Maybe you are. If you're hearing this message, you might want to check your levels. This will affect the thyroid, but nonetheless, this is the I am. And it's tied to this right here, folks. Folks, I really want you to logically think about what I'm showing you right here. Quantum means going inward, going back to source. If we live in a simulation and it really is ruled over by some kind of supercomputer, I don't know. I'm just purely speculating. I know some of you that are absolute, drop dead Bible people, and you're all about the God. I'm not taking any of that away. I'm just throwing out possibilities. Notice I'm not saying this is true. I'm just completely theorizing with all of you. But think about what I'm showing you here. This is a no-brainer. I showed this so many times now throughout the course of my presentations. This is the I am that I am. This is synchronized with your Bible if you're a Bible person, okay? It's synchronized with it. Make no mistake about it. Absolutely is synchronized with it. And it's the 369. But you see the 75 in the string of pi occupying digits number 47 and 48, and 47 and 48 being the number 95. I mean, what do you think the odds would be, of what's going on here? And, then let me just give the nail in the coffin to show you how powerful this mathematical equation is and these numbers. So when you go 48 digits into the string of pi, here it is. This is measuring where the 75 is found. This is actually going 48 because we found it at the 47th and 75 is found at the 47th and 48th decimal digits. Now, so 5 is the 48th digit. So now we're going to go 48 digits past the 3 point. We're going to measure that and get those digits. And look at what we get, folks. I mean, freaking look at this. When we add up all these digits found from where the 75 is located, it's the freaking 243, which goes right back to americium and its atomic weight. It's the I am, folks. And we're talking about quantum financial system here, folks. I really want you to think about what's going on here. There it is. I mean, this is undeniable. This is super strong. You're not going to get this outcomes in a lot of things, but man, this is ridiculous strong right here. And let me just give another nail on the other side of the coffin. Satoshi Nakamoto supposedly was born on April 5th. Look at what day of the year it is, folks. I mean, some of you, your jaw should be on the floor, man. I mean, I don't get surprised by this stuff anymore, but I mean, come on. How else are we to describe what I'm showing you here? All of these layers, and people think man's coding this. Man could never code. There's too many moving parts, folks. Okay? There's just way too many moving parts. I mean, even if this guy is not real, it's the 95th day of the year. Tied to the americium element. Tied to quantum financial system through the string of pi. Completely separate modalities, yet they all link up. Amongst his name and the 55 and the 52, I mean, it just keeps going on and on, folks. So let's get into the fifth topic called In God We Trust, which of course is right on the back of the dollar bill. Some people have been programmed to believe that this is evil. Folks, I mean, that's the farthest from the truth. It's a tool. It's a currency. It's used to exchange things. The exchange of energy. That's what it's all for. It can be definitely used for evil purposes, but it's not evil at all. And without it, you would not be able to survive in this world at a level of probably where you're at now, where you're comfortable. Everybody wants to be comfortable. I love it. People say, oh, I'll go live off the land. And you get them really there and they've never been there before or whatever, and they're miserable. I mean, go poop in an outhouse for the next couple of years and tell me how you're feeling after that. Anyway, look at what in God we trust equals 50. Remember I said we were going to see that 50 towards the end at the beginning of this presentation. I showed that 50 in the tin. Well, there it is. In God we trust, using the Chaldean again. It's the 50, it's tin. And, that's why I felt that, this one could be really one of the big daddies on the world stage. Because I just don't go with, I'm not a financial advisor, so I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm simply just showing you my discoveries. And XRP looks a heck of a lot like the alchemical symbol of tin, which is what I call the merger of worlds. Because this clearly fits in the flower of life, in Vesica Pisces, all that. I showed that in my flower of life in Vesica Pisces decode. This is huge. Tied to the alligator card, the greater than, less than. I mean, folks, it's all in there when you really kind of see all the symbols. But there it is. And that's why I feel that this will be one of the big daddies on the world stage. I mean, if we get that far, maybe we won't. I don't know. But anyway, XRP, this is loosely bound because we're using two different ciphers and a lot of words and letters. But, XRP is a 58, New World Order is a 58. But just remember that, we're being run by what I call the puppet master, and we're, marionettes, and we're being controlled remotely. So the picture I have is somebody behind a computer, but just imagine the architect that runs this reality. This is what it would look like from its position. It would be looking at us through that screen, and it would be ruling over us remotely. And that's how I feel all of this works. And our lives really are not our own. Like the little voice in your head, that owns you. It's not the other way around. And that's why it constantly won't shut up. That's your identity. So XRP is, of course, owned and operated by Ripple out of San Francisco. And here's some more syncs. Ripple's 27, Currency's 27. 27 is Cobalt. 27 is 58 in the Puppet Master. Go right back there. Go right back here. New World Order. It's all connected, folks. And, here's another look at that. The symbols are very close in their expressions, I feel. Even Under Armour, if you have any of their clothes or sneakers, they share that symbol as well. It gets really interesting when you start looking all that kind of stuff. So I'm almost done with this presentation, folks. Thanks for sticking with me. So here's the Coinage Act of 1792. And this is when the United States created the dollar and the money that we use today. And it was in 1792. So, I feel this year is the monumental year. I feel that this is the year that shit's about to go down and we will have some serious change. And, if, some of you are not prepared because you just simply are putting your faith in a story and you can't really back it up other than having faith, which is totally fine. I'm not here to try to change your story, but is it really worth it to just put all your faith in and not have anything in reserve or not be diverse because you just don't want to get involved with crypto? It's better to have just a little bit of it. And, if I'm wrong and, whatever happens comes in and it smashes it and there is no crypto and we go back to gold standard, whatever the case may be, folks, it's just worth being a little diverse, right? That's the only thing I can suggest. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but nonetheless, look at the dates on the calendar and the subtraction of those two dates. 2021, this year, subtracting the 1792 of when the money was first created by the United States, and 229. It's not just any number, folks. It's the frickin' 50th prime number. Now, am I completely guessing? Yes. I can't prove this. But we're talking about getting rid of one way of buying things in our world and moving into another way of paying for things in the world. And I feel, I mean, who here spins records? Who here licks stamps and writes letters and puts them in the mail? Do you still use a hard map, or are you using your navigation on your phone? You know, I mean, it's the natural evolution of our world is to go into a digital currency. You're already doing it now because you probably don't pay with hard cash. You've probably been using a plastic credit card, and that's using digital dollars, folks. You don't ever see that money. It just sits on a receipt. So you've already been pre-programmed to get into the digital quantum world of finances. And I mean, this is a big deal right here, I feel. This is a very big deal right here. And the dates really stand true. And again, you know, tin is the merger of worlds. And I mean, it's just right there, folks. I mean, you can't miss that. This was a big find. When I did the dates, I just like, wow, I was really blown away, really, because of the connection between In God We Trust and that tin being the merger of worlds, being the symbol for XRP and all that kind of stuff. So here's my last slide before I ask what you saw, but this was kind of another big one. And, you know, most of you know this magazine came out in 1988 that followed this kind of research, The Economist magazine. And, you know, I mean, who do you think's behind that magazine? You know, and this is moving into cryptocurrency, right? It's right there. And that's the symbolization of the phoenix rising from the ashes and the fire. It has the 10 on it. The 10 is the binary number. Of course, that's what it means. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, it's say 10, but, you know, it's the 10, folks. That's it. It's the 10, and the 10 means binary. The 10 means quantum. That's why it's on there. And when you subtract the year this magazine came out with this year, well, I mean, there's another 33. And that's why I have the cross behind there, because the cross has so much to say in how our world works. You know, and then this thing has so much behind it and the nuggets that you could just keep looking at it and really getting more and more nuggets. But that's what the 10 means. It's quantum. It's going quantum. Make no mistake about it. So I know there's a lot of stuff, folks. Sorry for my speech. I'm a little bit tired. I just wanted to get this material out. I just feel like it's time to get this. And a lot of you have been waiting for this decode. But what is it that you saw during this presentation? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I know I missed some stuff. I didn't include some stuff. Maybe you have some stuff you've been decoding you want to add to this. I would love to do a podcast with somebody side by side, or maybe more than one person, and talk about this topic. So just throwing that out there. If some of you feel the itch to do that, hit me up. Send me an email. My email is decodeyourreality@gmail.com. So that's all I got for today, folks. I thank each and every one of you for your donations, your Patreons, those of you that have gotten readings, and those of you that want to get readings. Just send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and I'll reply to you on how that process works. But thanks each and every one of you. I mean, you guys are superstars out there. Keep decoding yourself. Keep decoding yourself. It's the most important information you can do. Until next time, folks, we will see you later.